Thanks for starting your day the KUAM way. We are here in Tamuning and we're talking about the recent rash of robberies that have been occurring on our island. And Paul, I know you picked this particular spot for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for the opportunity to allow the Guam Police Department and the Guam Crime Stoppers to really showcase a lot of crimes that are actually being committed. And this is the site of the actual crime that was committed on April 14. It was a robbery. Male individual was walking to work along this area, the stripper roadway. He noted a silver Honda approaching his direction. So we know for a fact there were two individuals that were involved because of the fact that the driver initiated the high beam and a male individual had exited from the passenger side, brandishing a handgun and demanded money from the victim. You know, these are situations in which we want to highlight because of the fact of the amount of violence that's actually placed into this. Although it didn't get physical, just a mere threat of a firearm, it can become either it can really get ugly. So we want to advise the community first and foremost about what's going on in the community with these robberies, and more importantly to give the community an insight of how to really prevent these type of incidents from happening.
And if you can, just to refresh our memory, because I know we covered this story on the news, if you could provide the description of the suspect in this particular case.
Okay, so this suspect is described as possibly local. He was wearing a red shirt with a fitted cap. He had a mask covering his face. He was wearing khaki cargo shorts with high socks. He did, in his possession had the handgun and everything. So this incident happened at 3 o'clock in the morning, and shortly thereafter, around 5 o'clock, the Shell and Barragata by the Tri intersection, they were also victims of a crime, of a robbery. Same MO, where an individual came in brandishing a handgun, demanding money from the employees and of course from the store. So we're looking at the time frame. Something unique about this happened during the United Marathon. So the roads were pretty much open only for people going to and from the marathon. So we're at 3 o'clock in the morning. We probably had runners already here, or we probably had people setting up to provide assistance to the runners. So we're really focusing on what event happened on that day. So I want to highlight that was the day of the marathon. If anybody saw anything suspicious, we kindly ask that you call our GPD dispatchers at 472-8911 or submit a tip online at the Guam Crime Stoppers website. This is the best way in which you can provide information that can help our detectives bring closure to this case.
Right, and that's just two of the many armed robberies that have been occurring on our island. Last Thursday night, there was a robbery that occurred at the La Familia market in Dededo.
Yeah, absolutely. And the MO again for that was the suspect actually waited for the employees to come out of the store. So there's an exit, the rear side of the store. They don't utilize the front entrance. So the description of the individual was male, possibly local, all clad in black, and he was brandishing a gun. So he instructed the victims to surrender their belongings and get on the floor. So you can really see the methodical way of thinking that these suspects are actually preparing to carry out the crime. So there's a lot of thought process going into here, and what really is alarming is that the use of firearms and everything in these robberies. I know we made an arrest just the other day with another armed robbery that happened up at Wendy's, and it was really the work of our detectives working alongside our patrol officers, getting the information from the streets and able to utilize the availability of the community by providing CC camera footage, witnesses that were able to that had been identified to really bring justice to the victim in that case.
Right, and you're talking about the Marvin Horolano case. He actually had robbed a taxi driver,
Yes.
right? But first he picked up, got a ride from, I believe it was the Fiesta Hotel, and then he asked him to take him to the Micronesia Mall, but instead he told him to drop him at Wendy's, and at that point that's when he allegedly pulled out a knife and demanded money. I won't say specifically what he said according to the court documents, but he did demand money from that poor taxi driver.
Yeah, and it really is, when you really look at it, a lot of it is really the victims at a point in time, they had control of the situation around them prior to them engaging with the individual. And when I say that, it really is about you not becoming a victim. It's really, when you really look back at what happened before that, whether it was just being complacent at the time, where it was just taking things for granted, understanding the situation that that you're going to be in and the situation that you're in. It's very important to identify a life and death situation or opportunity or finding an opportunity in which either you can escape, evade, get help, or if in the event it gets physical, what do you do after that?
Yeah. So what do you do? Say I'm an armed robber and I come up to you and I say, give me your money, drop to the ground. What do you do?
So, in that sense, really, we ask people to take a step back. Ask yourself to assess the situation that you're in prior to any engagement with any individual. Is it safe? Do I have an opportunity to escape? This is where we constantly train people to really think about their environment, be cognizant of what's going on. Think about the probabilities of something happening, and it's really important to understand that. Don't take for granted that it's not going to happen to me because I'm walking here. Put things into consideration. Now, if you are placing that, the beautiful thing about it is that your awareness is now heightened, right? It's prior to the incident. It's like, okay, I prepared for this. Mentally I'm prepared. What do I do? Make an assessment. Do I have time to bug out? Do I have time to scream for help? Look at the demeanor of the individual. Of course, we recommend that in the event where that it's life, that life may be taken in this situation, comply. Go with the flow, comply, but get a good description. Listen to the voice, scent. Men, they like to wear certain fragrance or cologne and everything. Some body odors and everything can be distinguished. Look at the individual. Try and get a height. Use shapes and sizes to really determine so that you can give a great description. And this is recommended in the event where that you can't put up a fight, you can't flee, you can't evade. Best thing to do is comply. But at the same time, try to delay so that you can have a thought process to which you can identify the individual, you can give a good description to our officers, you can capture a vehicle mentally and note it down immediately because, everything's going, it's like this happened. How do I re-engage my memory process in understanding what just happened? How do I slow it down? So a lot of it is really the preparation before the event. And I do this with my family and my kids. It's always being aware about the situation around you. Even though it's not going to happen, things can happen and might happen.
Right, and in the La Familia market robbery, one of the things, because I spoke with the employees there, and one of them was saying that he had the description right, but he said they're almost positive that the person that robbed the place last Thursday night was actually the same person that robbed the place almost a month ago, but it happened as they were opening the store.
Yeah, so, they're paying attention. So, really change your time. If you feel that you've been a victim of this, it really shows that they're paying attention to time, they're paying attention to behavior, mannerism, and how you present yourself. It's really, if you look at it, it's predator versus prey. When the predator's not going to come in front, where it's the direct prey is going to realize and they're going to fight or flight syndrome. The predator's going to take advantage of an opportunity that presents itself, whether it be planning, whether it be timing or anything, or that opportunity. So really, as the prey, don't become a prey. Stand up. Assert yourself. Be aware of your surrounding, because if you're able to understand that sort of element of where you're at, it really is now you become a hardened target. Even though you don't present any form of weapons, just by your mannerism, it really makes you a hardened target. So it's really, is this a soft target? Can I easily obtain what I need to do by carrying out this act, or is it going to put up a fight? Are they aware? Are they going to be able to call help? Are they going to take a picture of me and all this stuff? So it really is putting yourself first in that mindset and understanding what's going on. And it's really unfortunate that La Familia, you're right, a month, I want to say 2 weeks before that, they were a victim. The guy came in right as soon as they were opening. So what really is going on is like, I'm going to open the door, I'm going to turn on the lights, I'm going to look around, start the day, but you're not thinking about what can happen. So it's really putting yourself in that mindset. Now, heightened security, can I afford a security guard? Heightened security, what can I do if I'm walking by myself? This is really about you in the mindset, the preparation of the mindset first.
And what we are also seeing is people are posting pictures online of people from their surveillance cameras. Is that something also that you recommend people do to get the community to rally together?
Absolutely. And, we stress this at our neighborhood watch efforts when we go to the community. We ask the community members to actually be a part of a village registry, whether it be a homeowner who has CC cameras at his home, or whether it be a business that actually can provide that CC camera footage. And the beautiful thing about CC camera registry with the Village Watch program, it helps us as investigators because we can go to this certain area and we can identify this individual. But we're seeing a lot of overwhelming support from the community by providing this, and it's been really been paying dividends a lot. The kidnapping that happened, just down in the street in Tamuning, it was really the CC camera footage that captured the time frame from which the frequent of that suspect car in which we put out, which was shared on social media, that our investigators were able to capture based on the surveillance that was provided and the businesses that provided the surveillance cameras to our officers. So that paid dividends in the long run. So, these are great things. These are great tools to have. And, we ask the community to share it. Go ahead and share it, and we'll do the follow-ups and everything.
And speaking of sharing, we actually got video from a vape shop. I believe it was in Mangilao, where an attempted burglary occurred. And we'd like to share that with you now. And again, that occurred in the village of Mangilao. They reported it to the Guam Police Department. It was video of someone who tried to break in to the vape shop. And of course, they reported that to GPD. Were you aware of the incident?
Yes. And these are evidences which our detectives can actually utilize. And some businesses have actually invested in those high resolution type equipment in which they can actually take the lighting and adjust the lighting and really capture the face, capture the structure of the face, even capture license plates. So these are signs of times to come where the community is really arming themselves with the proper tools, the proper equipment in which they can actually protect their investment. But as an individual, how do you protect yourself? It really does have to start with your mindset and not becoming a victim. Last week we talked about the kidnapping, and one of our campaigns and what we're coming out is through our enforcement, not to our enforcement, but to our outreach. We're going to be working with the schools. We're going to be working with the parents. We're going to be working with the neighborhood watch and bringing forth the Stranger Danger campaign. It's going to be a full effort with the Guam Police Department in reaching out to our community partners. And these are some of the things in which we want to teach parents and, more importantly, the kids. How do you protect yourself by just you being kids? And really, there's a lot of mechanisms, there's a lot of techniques that we can actually deploy and teach the kids in how to be safe while walking to and from.
Right, and just going back to that video, we just want to encourage people that are watching Crime Time, if you have videos or pictures that you would like for us to share to help keep our community safe, you can do that absolutely. Just send it to us at KUAM News on our Facebook Messenger. But I wanted to also give kudos to the Guam Police Department. We talked about how Marvin Horolano was arrested, but also there was another arrest, Chris Tichautau.
Yeah.
He was arrested for, I believe it was armed robbery. Again, yes. 2 tourists held at gunpoint.
In broad daylight, around 1:30 in the afternoon. So those guys are really, really taking the risk. And it shows it's either desperation. There's always a core. Yeah. And, when we look at it as a community, we're looking, why are they doing this? What's the reason? Are they going to be like a Robin Hood, rob from the rich so that they can feed the poor, or they're really going to be supporting their habit and everything? But at broad daylight, that's really brass for a suspect to really commit that crime. And you heard the outcry from the tourism community. We need to really better prepare ourselves in the event where you don't fall prey to that. And I want to commend the efforts of patrol, and it really started with patrol providing the information and the efforts of the victims themselves by providing a captured still picture of the suspect vehicle that left. And it helped us with our all points bulletin. It helped us in understanding what we were looking for, who we were looking for, and how to prepare in the event we made contact with an individual. And it was a collaborated effort with our patrol officers who took the initial preliminary report. It was a collaborated effort again with our detectives and, of course, the adjoining precincts in which the vehicle was spotted, and they brought in the resources with our patrol officers. They were able to effectuate a high-risk traffic stop, and they were able to apprehend the individual that was responsible for that case. And it's really, within a day span, we were able to close that robbery incident. So it was really that information that was provided by the victim. And who would have thought? These are tourists. These are tourists who've been victimized. They were getting ready to board the plane. They wanted to take pictures at the East Agana Pavilion, but they had the right mindset to capture that and share that information with the officer. So it's really their part that provided the assistance in making the arrest of that case.
And why are we seeing so many robberies occurring on our island? Is it all tied to the catastrophic drug problem?
I want to say, really, it like I said, are we going to weigh out that they're committing this crime so that they can take care of their family, or versus are they committing this crime to take care of their addiction? And when you really look at it, majority of these suspects who get captured, they're found with Schedule 2 in their possession, and that's just pretty much the precursor to tell you that there is an addiction issue that's going on. It really is. I need to feed my addiction. I need to do it, and this is where we need to work together as a community in helping, really, because we can do all the drug interdiction. We can really do all the drug interdiction. We can issue search warrants, kick doors down, and take all the drugs off the street. But if there's a dependency and there's a want, not a need, but there's a want, it now becomes a need because it may become, you may have to treat the addiction clinically. So we at the Guam Police Department, we're taking it from the two-prong approach towards prevention. We're starting young. We're educating the kids in the beginning. We're teaching them about the dangers of drugs and the dangers of addiction. Our drug interdiction is that phase where we want to interdict and provide that enforcement so that we can stop what's happening. But the next phase is how do you provide treatment to the individuals who are suffering to addiction, the common user who now it's not a want anymore, it's a need because it really is some sort of chemical imbalance. So again, with this administration, they're looking at treatment and they're looking at understanding how can we treat those who suffer through addiction.
And that of course is a whole nother show, and we probably would need more time to talk about that. Just for everybody that's watching, if you have any information about the recent rash of robberies, please, you're urged to call Guam Crime Stoppers. That number is 4357. And of course, one of the most important things about when calling Guam Crime Stoppers is the fact that you remain anonymous.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Crime Stoppers has been really providing a lot of information to our detectives, giving them some critical pieces to the puzzle in which they are actually using to help with the cases. Some of the things that they've been really instrumental with the Guam Crime Stoppers was, of course, the school break-ins at Simon Sanchez. Two of those incidents was actually attributed, the closures of this case was actually attributed to tips that were provided to the Guam Crime Stoppers. And we did the crime time up at Simon Sanchez, and we featured the sharks, the Mad Sharks, and these are kids who did their initiative and had just had enough of it. They wanted to make their school safe, and we're starting to see it pay dividends. And of course, one of the things that I really admire was that minor who was actually sexually assaulted and was captured in video. We were able to work based on a Crime Stoppers tip that really put in the efforts, not just from our local side with our local AG, but also our federal partners. Guam Homeland, or the HSA, the Homeland Security Advisor, realized that we needed to get these arrest warrants because the suspects were not on Guam anymore. They were actually abroad in the United States, and we were able to bring them back. And this was the efforts based on a tip that was provided that actually pushed everything forward for this investigation. So the Crime Stoppers is a great tool in which we use as the Guam Police Department to bring forth any cases that may go cold or may not have any information or any needs. And this is where we ask the community, again, on April 14th, 3 o'clock in the morning, a lot of the runners, and that was a lot of runners, so if you were commuting to and from and you may have witnessed something happening right here along this strip, that information can really help them, really help bring closure to that case.
Right, and we're going to wrap this up, but today at 5:05 p.m., the Guam Family Justice Alliance Center, Guam Family Justice Center Alliance. They're holding a walkout at 5:05 p.m. If you are tired of all the robberies, tired of all the criminal sexual conduct cases that have been occurring on our island, again, you are asked to walk outside from wherever you are at 5:05 and for 15 minutes to stand in silence and write on your hand and show your message that enough is enough. For Crime Time, I'm Sabrina Salas Matanani. This is Paul Tapal. Thanks for watching.